We have learned how organisms are identified, named, and classified. But what is the basic unit of classification? Species. Earth contains an enormous diversity of living organisms, making systematic classification essential. To organize this diversity, scientists classify organisms into different groups. One of the most important groups is the species. Look at humans, an enormous diversity. We may look different from one another, but we all belong to the same species. Individual differences in appearance do not necessarily mean that organisms belong to different species. Members of the same species generally share fundamental characteristics and have the potential to reproduce with one another. Under natural conditions, members of the same species can interbreed and produce offspring. An important idea is that their offspring are generally fertile and can reproduce further. Thus, a species can be understood as a group of similar organisms capable of interbreeding and producing fertile offspring under natural conditions. For example, individuals of the lion species can naturally interbreed and produce fertile offspring. Tigers, however, belong to a different species from lions, despite being closely related. Being closely related does not necessarily mean that two organisms belong to the same species. Horses belong to one species. They reproduce with one another to produce fertile offspring. Donkeys belong to a different species from horses. A horse and a donkey can produce a hybrid called a mule. A horse and a donkey. However, mules are generally sterile and cannot produce offspring of their own. This illustrates an important difference between organisms belonging to the same species and organisms belonging to different species. Species are often separated by reproductive barriers that prevent them from producing fertile offspring with other groups. Members of one species can show considerable variation while still belonging to the same species. The species is therefore considered the basic unit of classification and an important starting point for organizing biodiversity. Remember the core concept: similar organisms that can interbreed and produce fertile offspring under natural conditions are generally considered members of the same species. Species is the basic unit of classification. Members generally share fundamental characteristics, can interbreed naturally, and produce fertile offspring. Remember, organisms may look similar or different, but reproductive compatibility and fertile offspring are important concepts when understanding species. Now we know what a species is. But how are species organized into larger groups? In the next video, we'll explore the taxonomical hierarchy. First, species consist of similar organisms. Second, they can interbreed under natural conditions. Third, and finally, species is the basic unit of classification. A species is the basic unit of classification. But how are species grouped into larger categories? Let's climb the ladder of the taxonomical hierarchy, from species to kingdom.